So the Montreal Canadiens, Marc Bergevin, did not waste too much time at the end of the trade freeze. He makes a pair of trades yesterday, and we're going to take a look at what this means for the Canadiens moving forward. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. And let's take a look at these moves by the Montreal Canadiens. Alright, so taking a look at the Montreal Canadiens, Bergevin did not waste too much time yesterday, making a couple of moves to his hockey team, moving out a defenseman, bringing in a defenseman. Let's see what this does for the Canadiens. Some people are pretty pessimistic. I looked at the Canadiens. There were a couple articles today saying they're going to miss the playoffs now because of this move, and they look completely out of shape. Others are saying, great move by Bergevin. So let's take a look at what I think about the Canadiens, what the situation realistically looks like for the Canadiens. So starting off with the first trade that was made at 6:28. So these were 6 minutes apart. The first trade at 6:28 p.m. yesterday. The Montreal Canadiens trade defenseman Mike Riley to the Ottawa Senators, divisional opponent there, to the Ottawa Senators. In return, the Ottawa Senators trade forward Andrew Sturts and a 2021 fifth-round pick. So the first trade, basically they trade out a defenseman for a prospect forward and a defenseman. Now, the interesting thing here is Andy Sturts. I know this name very well. I actually watch Penn State hockey, Penn State football, and this is a guy that I've watched play in State College. He is a very solid player. Just a quick look at his numbers. His last season with Penn State, he put up 40 points in 37 games. Over the last couple years, back in 2017, 2018, he got 3 points in 6 games with the Belleville Senators. 2 seasons ago, he got 6 points in 15 games last year with the Belleville Senators. And then this season, he has a 2 points in 14 games, 2 points in 4 games with the Brampton Beast in the ECHL. So his numbers have definitely taken a little bit of a hit recently. He is a pretty solid player. I think he could be a bottom 6 player in the NHL. He needs to continue to develop nonetheless, but I think he could be a good addition here for the Montreal Canadiens, as well as they pick up that fifth round pick. Definitely not too bad. The Buffalo Sabres pick up Mike Riley, who right now has played 14 games this season. He has 4 points in those 14 games. In his career, he has 41 points in 174 games in the NHL. So not a bad trade there for the Buffalo Sabres. They probably get the best player out of that. But if Andrew Sturts turns into a top 6 player, and who knows what that 5th round pick turns into, that could actually turn into a pretty good trade for the Montreal Canadiens as well. Alright, so then 6 minutes later at 6:32 p.m., the Montreal Canadiens go to another divisional opponent in the Buffalo Sabres. Not sure why they would do this, considering these two teams are pretty neck and neck in terms of possibly making the playoffs. But I guess Bergevin was pretty confident in the deal here with Botterill, because the Montreal Canadiens pick up defenseman Marco Scandella for that 4th round pick in 2020. So there were rumors saying that they were trading the pick that they picked up. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I messed that up. Because the Buffalo Sabres would turn around and trade that 4th round pick for Michael Frolik to Calgary. So that's where I messed up. Okay. That makes sense. So the Buffalo Sabres pick up the 4th round pick. Montreal picks up Marco Scandella. He's been around in the NHL now for a while. He's played over 500 games in the NHL. He has 133 points in his NHL career. He has 9 points in 31 games this year with the Montreal Canadiens. And the Canadiens here, this might be secretly a pretty good pickup here for Marc Bergevin. He does come at a pretty high cap hit. He does have a fairly high cap hit for what he's been putting out. But Marco Scandella, if they bought low on Scandella and he could jump into that top 4 role, possibly top 6, maybe, lower the minutes of a guy like Ben Sherratt, I think that would be good for the Montreal Canadiens. And Marco Scandella, they might be able to bring back a guy that was in Minnesota, a pretty solid defenseman. Obviously, when he was traded to Buffalo, unfortunately, fortunes definitely didn't go in his favor. Ralph Kruger was pretty much putting Scandella in the doghouse. We really weren't seeing much of Scandella at the end of his career here with Buffalo. So good to see that he gets a move. He gets an opportunity. Like I said, over 500 NHL games. Even if he doesn't, produce that much, he could even be a good player in the locker room at the very least for the Canadiens. Add some more veteran leadership to a fairly young blue line. Obviously, you have Shea Weber, but you have Victor Mete, Noah Juleson, as well as a couple other guys that have been kind of jumping in and out of the lineup there for the Canadiens. Jeremy Lazar, and a couple of other guys. So the Montreal Canadiens, I have to say, this was a pretty good move on these two trades. I think Sturz could possibly be a bottom six player for the Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal has been busy over the past 48 hours. Marc Bergevin made two trades yesterday, trading out Mike Riley, bringing in Marco Scandella and Andrew Sturz. And now today, he brings in Ilya Kovalchuk. So that's the other move that was made here. So the Montreal Canadiens bring in Ilya Kovalchuk on a 1-year, two-way contract. That's important to know. He can clear waivers, and he would be sent to Laval of the American Hockey League. He's making the league min $700,000 for this season. The remainder of this season, he's also going to make $70,000 if he ends up in the American Hockey League at the time. So we'll see what happens with that. The former first overall pick right now has played almost 900 games in the NHL. 3 more games to 900. He's played 897 games. He has 859 NHL points, over 400 goals, over 400 assists for Ilya Kovalchuk in his career in the NHL. The 2001 former first overall pick. I think this is a good addition here for the Montreal Canadiens. They add some forward depth, and if things work out, Ilya Kovalchuk could find himself possibly in the top 6, and worst case, he finds himself in the American Hockey League. We've seen the Canadiens do this before with some guys, and it's worked out pretty well, and a good move by Marc Bergevin. And I don't know how much this was really talked about. This kind of came out of nowhere. I'm making this video right now, and this is what I found. I didn't even know that the Canadiens were even, on the radar for Kovalchuk, but good for Kovalchuk. He gets another opportunity. He could get to that 900 games at very least. I would think he will get at least 3 games with the Montreal Canadiens. And worst case, if he doesn't play that well, he could get sent back down to the American Hockey League. So the aging Ilya Kovalchuk, 36 years old. He is a grizzled veteran at its finest, spending time in the NHL, going to the KHL for a long period of time, coming back. And now he gets one last shot here with the Montreal Canadiens. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this move by the Montreal Canadiens? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.